Please welcome Harlow.
So as a lot of you guys know, I'm a big music person, and when I joined freestyle, obviously they don't have a music program, but they have a film program, so I was like, I also like film, I'm going to do film and see how it goes. And so for my exploration, I was like, how can I combine like these two things? I don't have any musical training per se, anything professional, I just like to listen to a lot of music, and I think it's so interesting how music can really support a film. And a lot of the movies I watch, I'm like, wow, like the music on this is so good. So I was like, how can I combine these two skills? And enter film scoring. Film scoring is the act of creating an original music piece or set of music pieces for a film. This is different from soundtracking, which is taking already existing music pieces and putting it over a film. And so I was like, okay, I'll try film scoring. Shoot, I forgot the clicker. Here are some films that are renowned for their really good scores. And so I started researching about the process of film scoring, and I'm like, how am I going to do this if I don't have any musical training? So the first thing that a lot of film scorers do, they sit down with the piece that they're going to make a music piece for, and they kind of just watch it through and figure out the general vibe for the film, and then also kind of the key moments where they're going to need to like emphasize different things with the music. The next step in this process is composition. I don't know how to compose music. I don't know anything about what's on the screen right now. You could not ask me to read sheet music, so I don't know what this is about. And that's what I was thinking through the majority of this process, but luckily enough we had a unit in digital media where we explored kind of digital music and stuff. I don't play any instruments, so I was like, okay, I can take some of the skills I've learned here and apply them to a film that I've already made. Synchronization comes next. So after you compose the music piece, there are certain key moments in the film where you want to hit, and you want to emphasize certain things in the film, and I'll talk more about this later when I show you guys the film that I was scoring. And then finally comes recording. Usually this is done with actual instruments in an actual recording studio like the one we have at Freestyle, but I can't play instruments, so I was like, I'll just use the next best thing, which is online music. The benefits of film scoring, there are a ton of benefits to having a good score to your film. Some of the main ones being leitmotif, which is using a certain recognizable piece of music or kind of like instrumental every time something comes up in a film. And this was actually interesting. I was learning about this during explorations, but it was something we used for our narrative film. We had a book, and every time the book came on screen, we would use a certain theme from the music that we pulled from online. Pacing, whether the tempo is slow or fast, it can really affect how the viewer sees the film. Antonio kind of showed this with the fight scene in the elevator. If the pacing is slow, it feels less, action-packed, but if it's fast, it feels more action-packed, more engaging to the viewer. And then subtext, if there's something that's not explicitly shown, like in the film that you want to show people, you can use music. So like say a character has kind of a darker side that's not shown in the film directly, you can use music to kind of slowly reveal that, create suspense when the character comes on scene, like Darth Vader's tune that comes when he comes on screen. That kind of shows that he's kind of a scary character, although it's more explicitly stated in Star Wars. And so my process, I ended up using GarageBand. I know this is not the industry standard, but I was like, I can't get Pro Tools on my MacBook for the life of me, so I'm just going to use GarageBand and then a keyboard plugin that Mr. Flo so graciously lended me. And so essentially I kind of started going on GarageBand, looking at all the different things that are available to me and how I was going to soundtrack my piece. And let me see. So first I created a GarageBand file, and I imported my footage, and I just watched it through, and this is the process of spotting. I figured out which key moments I wanted, like certain notes to land on, and certain things to emphasize, like what was going on in my film. And the film I chose was my experimental film, which is the first film that we made in film class, and I had originally soundtracked it with something from online, and all of my film friends know that throughout the year I've struggled a lot with soundtracking. I like music, I like film, I am not good at soundtracking, so I was like, I should just learn how to create my own music, which is this. So I created a tempo map where I kind of matched the tempo, each note, or like with the tempo, there's kind of, I don't even know what it's called. It's like 4 beats, and then I matched every beat to like a certain moment that was going on in the film. So I had to slow down the tempo at some points and then speed it up at other points so it was matching. And then I explored all the available sounds in GarageBand, and there are a lot of sounds in GarageBand, so I was kind of just sitting there with my keyboard, clicking on instrument, pressing the keyboard, oh I like that one, oh I don't like that one, and then I kind of wrote it down in a Google Doc, and then I was keeping track of like all the things I wanted to use. I originally created a tempo map for my entire experimental film, which is a couple minutes long, but I was like, okay, that was good, like, experience creating a tempo map, but there's no way I'm, like, gonna be able to score the whole thing, because it is a lot of work to get music on the whole piece, so I was like, I want to make sure, like, this piece of music is good, so I chose the original starting point, and I identified 3 key tone shifts, or changes in the music that I wanted to implement, and so for the first part, which you guys will see, it opens on a burning rose, and I was like, okay, this is a very striking image, I want, like, good, something very striking with the music to support that, and so that's what I did, and then slowly the rose fades out, and I was like, okay, I want the music to also fade out, you know, supporting the image that's on screen, and then eventually it fades completely to black, and then a burning bouquet comes into frame, and so that was going to be my third, I guess, tempo change, and also tone shift. And so I started piecing together music. This was hard because I don't know any music terminology, and so there's a lot of things you can do in GarageBand with music, but I don't know what a lot of them mean, so I was kind of switching between GarageBand and Google, searching up, oh, what does this mean, oh, what does this mean, and it was really interesting to learn like a lot of these musical terms that I'd never known, and I think it would be really cool beyond this project to explore some of this stuff and learn what all of this stuff means, because it really is like this whole world of so much stuff you can learn. I watched YouTube videos, and then also I asked for feedback from my friends, from my family, and eventually I put together a score for the first part of my experimental film, which I will show right now. So my reflection for this piece, I learned quite a few things in trying to score my own film. One of the main things is there is so much to making music, and I listen to a lot of music. I just can't imagine what goes on behind the scenes, because it is truly so much work put into like just getting this small product. And I'm sure with training it's a little bit easier, but still it takes a lot of effort, and I think in the future I would really like to explore that, maybe get some professional training so I could score some of my other films and actually make something that's a little bit more, you know, professional. I think starting off with my experimental film, it was a little bit easier because, you know, an experimental film can be whatever you want it to be, and the music can as well, but if it was a more professional film, something where it needed a little less, or a little more constraints, and there was a little less leniency, I think I would need more training to do that. And otherwise, I think another learning point for me, probably using a different app that's more industry standard. I know GarageBand's not the best, but it was what I made do with, but I think Pro Tools or something else would probably be more beneficial if I wanted to apply this more professionally to my work. And otherwise, I think it was just really fun to be able to explore this aspect of film and kind of combine 2 pieces of art in one, film and music. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Corinne?
I wanted to say that I really loved when like the music kind of is sort of stopped after it showed like the single rose, and then it like picked back up when it showed like the bouquet. Like I thought that was really cool, and also like the music, it was so cool. It kind of reminded me of the Twilight Zone.
Thank you. Annabelle?
I was definitely reminded of like a lot of surreal sci-fi films have that sort of like the way it faded in and out. But I also thought it fit in really well with your experimental film, because it helped add to it feeling more abstract and interesting to think about to me.
Thank you. Isabella?
Yeah, I really like the eeriness of the music you used. I think that you just added a lot, if that's what you were trying to do.
Thanks. Antonio?
Like after your singular rose was extinguished and you started singing fire to like the bouquet, I think your music kind of shifted to like more haunting, like dissonant tone. Was that kind of like your goal?
Yeah, with the original Rose, you know, it starts on screen and people don't really, like, know what it's about, so I wanted that to kind of just be, like, the introduction to the idea that roses were going to be a part of my film, and then when the bouquet came in with the burning bouquet, I wanted it to transition to more eerie, more, like, picking up the vibe of the film, which is more eerie in general. Lucy?
How did you decide on like the synth sound? Because like I don't think that's the first thing I would have thought of looking at your project. But seeing how they go together, like it's so complementary, like Annabelle said. So how did you kind of come across that?
So the original piece of music that I had gotten to soundtrack my film was piano, and it was like an out of tune kind of haunting piano, and I was like, if I'm gonna score my film, I don't wanna do piano, even though I really loved that vibe for it. So I kind of was exploring the different instruments that are available to me on GarageBand, and you know, I don't even know what synth is, but it sounded cool. So I was like, you know, just playing around with that, and I thought it kind of weirdly fit. It, even though it kind of sounds electronic, it works. Yeah. Mr. Flo?
So yeah, when you're ready, I'll show you how you can actually bring a video into Pro Tools, and you can play the video in Pro Tools and play music directly watching it.
Yeah, I had that going with GarageBand, and I don't know how it works with Pro Tools, but my Mac is not the best, so it was like playing, but it was like glitching through it, and it wasn't like hitting at the same time, so yeah, that was kind of a struggle, but yeah, that would be cool, thank you. Mr. Taylor?
It was really interesting to see your film with your music on it. It really put it in a different light for me, and in a way I get more of a sense of your voice in the work, because now I'm hearing it as well as seeing it. And I really liked it, and I think you should do the whole thing.
Thank you.
I know the film's a lot longer than that, but it'd
Yeah.
be super cool if you finish the whole thing.
I would like to do the whole thing, and I think I will work on that, because this was actually really fun for me to do on my own without like the deadlines or constraints. I would love to be able to put music over my own work. I feel like it's so much more personal that way. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.